Guys, midweek energy update. We have Venus and Mercury coming together middle of our week on Wednesday this week. They're going to be in a conjunction in the sign of Virgo. Mercury is retrograde though, and I have a feeling that this particular Mercury-Venus conjunction could feature people having a lot to say about like what's wrong with things, like really noticing the flaws and wanting to tell people about it. More kind of like critical, nitpicky energy we could have going on midweek this week. And I also want to say, moving into the energy of Thursday, there could be some fears that are coming up that are honestly, like probably sort of irrational. We've got Black Moon and Libra energy that's going to activate on Thursday before the moon enters Libra and forms a conjunction to the Black Moon, which rules our shadow side, our fears, our insecurities, worries, and doubts. It's also going to make an opposition to Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. So when I'm thinking that a lot of the things that could be triggering us, especially in relationship dynamics, especially maybe like fears having to do with not being enough or being alone or being cast out somehow, that could be coming through this week. A lot of that is going to be kind of an illusion and again, like a lot more irrational than it may seem in this particular energy. We do have, again, kind of like a critical, kind of serious, maybe a little bit like depressing energy coming through at our midpoint this week, but I will tell you, it is really, really good for like tidying up, organizing, reorganizing, putting things back together, solving old problems. This is also an energy where there might just be like this urge to like drop everything and like finally address an issue that has been like bothering you for a while, but you just have been putting off. You might find yourself doing that as we move through the energy of this week. And we've got a lot to talk about. Mercury making conjunction with Venus. This generally is going to make us quite conversational, but Mercury's retrograde, so people could be a bit more introverted also as we move through the week. Let's get into our report of the day, you guys. Let's talk about how all this energy is coming together for us and what perhaps we can anticipate as we move towards the weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me till the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. That's going to happen at the end. Let's get into the astrology. I don't know, you guys. Like I said, sort of in my intro, I would expect maybe people to be a bit just hypercritical, maybe about everything today and, moving through this week. We have Mercury and Venus coming together. That is one of the primary activations of our week this week. Generally, this is going to put people in a pretty good mood. Things are going to go swimmingly with our relations and conversations and communications with others. It usually kind of like provokes and pulls out the best in people. We're kind of on our best behavior. Everything is kind of beautiful and very creative energy, very social energy, kind of affectionate and jovial energy. People are just getting on normally quite well with others when we've got a Venus-Mercury conjunction going on. However, this particular Venus-Mercury conjunction features a Mercury retrograde. It's happening in the sign of Virgo. This in and of itself is causing us to kind of like see the details through a bit of a more critical lens, especially in the context of other people and like financial situations and stuff. And then we need to bring into the equation a simultaneous Virgo moon opposing Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces, and this is weighing heavy on us. This is, a very narrow-minded focus on things as well. This is, definitely probably seeing the glass as a bit half empty. I would expect even maybe the most positive people to be having just a bit of a more pessimistic bend and lens to things in the energy of Wednesday. It's just that combination, like we're talking about Mercury retrograde. This is rethinking things, reconsidering things in the sign of Virgo, being like more nitpicky and like seeing all the flaws. And then with Venus, it's kind of have a lot to do with other people, or in terms of like what we want to happen and kind of like nothing really being good enough, or like nothing really making the cut, and then really reconsidering maybe what we want to do or who we want to relate to and how we want things to go. And then when you bring in that Saturn moon opposition, that is also like not necessarily making us feel all that much better. So that being said, There could be like a strong urge in the energy of especially Wednesday, you know, but kind of just like coloring our week this week, where we kind of maybe feel like we need to like drop everything and maybe address some of the imperfections that are kind of just like glaring in this energy. Things that are unorganized, that are unkept, disorderly, not clean, not done, not like put away. These type of things are probably just going to be bothering us more than normal this week, reaching the point of like no longer tolerable, to the point that people are sort of stopping in their tracks, right? Dropping everything and like addressing the issue, like managing the task, especially again, if it has to do with the more Virgo oriented energy, organizing, cleaning, bookkeeping, like finances and bills and stuff like that, housework, gardening, or like things to do with our habits, our lifestyle, our routine, diet, health, or Venus relationships, right? Or just kind of like daily tasks and like the normal flow of things. There could just be something that we have maybe been putting off or has been lingering, but it's just like, if I don't do this now, like I can't proceed and move forward, either because it's going to be bothering me in my mind, or it's going to be like physically bothering me like in the world around me. Like there's just much less tolerance for that which is apparently and in its appearance like lacking perfection or organization. So that might be where that's coming from if you're feeling that within you. And then, you know, of course we add into it the moon in Virgo opposite Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces. This is also a very heavy vibe that is calling for like responsibility and duty and accountability, plus, you know, just generally all of the Virgo energy, wanting order, wanting organization, wanting like understanding and productivity and perfection in, you know, our surroundings and the world around us. We also have Mars, interestingly enough, also at 13 degrees of Gemini on Wednesday. That Sabian symbol is a famous pianist giving a concert performance. So that's also like expressions of perfection going on. So we are looking for and seeking out, whether it's like consciously or unconsciously in the energy of Wednesday, an enhanced level of order and perfection. And anywhere that we are noticing that does not exist could be like, you know, that internal itch that we've just got to stop everything and handle in the moment, so that we feel like a restored sense of inner peace and we can move on with the Venus Mercury retrograde energy. Because Mercury retrograde, right, this is reconsidering, reorganizing, rewiring, rethinking, rewriting things. And then we're talking about Venus in the sign of Virgo also. This is like how we want things to be. And then Moon in Virgo also, opposite Saturn in Pisces, this inability to look away from like that which is undone, that which is not perfect, that which is not finished, or anything that is just like generally bothering us, not giving us peace. What do we got to do to like stop in our tracks and remedy the situation? You can't disregard the dirty dishes anymore, like the unfolded laundry or like messy surroundings. That's why I was saying a good use of this energy is tending our own garden, you know, tidying things up, reorganizing, getting things in a proper order that are going to lead to a greater ability for us to be productive and efficient. Also, like the financial dynamic of things like unpaid bills or paperwork, or just rebalancing the checkbook and stuff like that. If people do that type of thing anymore, like that is what we're talking about, okay? The inner need to fix things, making the undone intolerable. We need to be responsible. We need to get things done in order to feel at peace. Okay, I feel like it's something that people are going to be dealing with. Now, this could also very much go the other direction as well. We have some very, very, very polarized energy going on right now. We've got a huge emphasis on the Gemini energy. We've got a big emphasis on the Virgo energy. Both of those energies and signs are ruled by Mercury, which can have a lot to do with polarization and two sides of things and contrast as well as similarities. And then we're talking about a strong Piscean influence as well in the opposition to Virgo, which is also about polarity and opposition and, you know, duplicity and stuff like that. So this could be manifesting kind of very strongly in one of two ways. Either, like I've been saying over and over, this inner urge to like fix something, to handle an issue, to get something done, to get it out of the way, to restore a sense of inner peace or balance. Or on the other hand, people could just be like dropping everything and taking off, like totally running from the problem, totally avoiding it, totally refusing to look at it and to address things as well. It's either like this hyper response to handling an issue so that we can restore the sense of inner peace, or this like active disregard for accepting the need to handle that and just kind of taking off and being very, very avoidant and like abandoning situations as well. So I feel like those two octaves are kind of the ways that people could be dealing with whatever we've got going on as this energy comes through. But regardless, you're probably in some way maybe going to feel like I can't keep going unless I do X. Hopefully it's fix the thing and not throw the thing away, but it could be going that way as well, and maybe that's the way it needs to go as well. So who am I to say? That's just the way that I feel like the octaves of this energy could potentially play out. So don't be surprised if we are kind of being hypercritical of both self and others in this energy. As I said, very polarized environment. This could also represent perhaps some more like difficult confrontations or conversations about the past, maybe changing our minds about some things, or deciding to discontinue something. Now, again, generally, this is a very like, and it still might be, like there still might be a greater aptitude today for people to just be having some pleasant interpersonal conversations and connections and dynamics and stuff. But Virgo is a more hermit, introverted energy. Mercury is retrograde. This is an internalized energy. We're talking about Venus. It really kind of is just like a more refined ability to see the flaws in things, especially also with the Virgo moon opposing Saturn in Pisces. This is definitely narrowing our focus and maybe on our fears, on what's not working, on what we don't have, and people could definitely be like more expressive in their conversations with others about that type of thing today. So, you know, just maybe something to keep in mind. Also, this emphasis on duty and responsibility, or a desire to totally avoid that type of thing. I also do think there could be a strong relationship or financial element or orientation to the focus of what goes on this week. With the Venus Virgo energy going on, you know, events could be bringing up also, and this is, we're going to transition now from talking about the energy of Wednesday into talking about the energy more for Thursday. As I said, this is a very good week to kind of be more self-focused, maybe you know, keep to ourselves a bit more and just handle our own issues, deal with our own problems. Try not to be, you know, micromanaging what's going on in like other people's lives or the world around us to the best of our ability. That's likely to be a tendency, though, I will say, with the Mercury Venus and then the moon Saturn opposition and the Virgo Pisces, like micromanaging things to try to like stay in control of something that seems out of control, or to try to, you know, alleviate maybe some of the pressure that we feel of like not being perfect or something like that. Like that could be a tendency that's strong in the energy right now as well. Although, you know, if we are going to apply the micromanagement, it should be specifically to our own systems that we've got going on and trying to make them more efficient in our ability to like be productive, and not in the context of like what anybody else has going on. This is a very, very good week to mind our own business. Okay, we're gonna have much more success and cosmic support if that is the way that we are using this energy, instead of trying to like meddle in like whatever other people have going on. But I will tell you, Wednesday moving into Thursday, as I mentioned in my intro, there is a potential for sort of like these irrational fears to be coming up, and they're largely likely, again, it could be financial, it could be in regards to like financial situations, but more likely it's gonna have to do with like fears perhaps of being alone, being cast out, being rejected, being abandoned, or again, like maybe being like bankrupt, or like feeling like we don't have enough of some material asset or money or something in some way. Now, after Wednesday, moving into Thursday, the moon will continue to transit through the sign of Virgo and will hit in opposition to Neptune at 29 degrees of Virgo in Pisces. 29 degrees of the sign of Pisces, where Neptune is right now, the moon hitting that degree in Virgo. This could definitely be like clouding or distorting our perception of reality. With Mercury retrograde, this is also not the most clearest, linear, logical thinking. Okay, so there's a distortion in both the mental and the emotional energy that we have going on in terms of like our perception of things as we're moving into the energy of Thursday. And then what happens Thursday is, first thing after the moon makes that opposition to Neptune, and we're kind of reflecting on the disorienting nature or confusion or illusion, or you know, things just being a bit skewed somehow, we come into a black moon in the sign of Libra conjunction. Now, the black moon gets activated twice a month when the moon is transiting the sign where the black moon is located, or the sign opposing the black moon. The black moon takes 9 months to transit any sign, so every 9 months we go through sort of a new journey through the underworld in terms of our own psyches and the subconscious fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts that are projecting into our conscious reality as, you know, things that keep us essentially like attached to certain patterns and ways of relating to other people, and these programs that we play out over and over, these patterns and programs that we play out until we are able to gain an awareness of these shadow side issues and of how they essentially like dictate the way that we interact with reality, and therefore what we attract and create in our reality. And once we gain this awareness, we are able to the light into the shadows, right? We're able to free ourselves from these limitations that have held us back in the past and expand into new phases of internal growth and conscious awakening. And so, you know, the black moon, this is an important part of our psychic development. And whenever we've got a black moon in Libra going on, this is going to trigger and activate fears, worries, insecurities, doubts, shadow side issues in the context of essentially, you know, the Libra characteristics and archetypes, our ability to give and receive. This has to do with the feminine energy. This has to do with who and how we relate and connect to others. And again, like feelings and ultimately fears of being rejected, being alone, being cast out, not be accepted by the group, not measuring up, being like unperfect in any type of a way, and as a result of that, not being accepted. So it can bring up, that's another energy that can really like bring up our flaws and fears of rejection and abandonment, perhaps, that are associated with that. And it can also bring up financial fears, financial worries, like fears of not having enough, fears of not being comfortable, all of that type of stuff. So after we move through the energy of the Mercury retrograde conjunction to Venus and the Saturn opposition to the moon in Virgo, which again, like this is energy that is gearing us like more pessimistically and making us more critical and stuff, then we move into this energy that is actually triggering these fears. And these fears are likely to be very irrational, you guys. I will tell you, they are likely to be more of an illusion than like something that is actually real and that we really need to worry about. Although, you know, when we're talking about the sign of Virgo, this energy also does induce like worry and anxiety and stuff like that as well. So we could find ourselves caught up in some relationship or financial triggers that are eliciting like some irrational fears that people are dealing with, and could really honestly be messing with their minds and their emotions also, because we're talking about the moon doing this, okay, in some type of way, pulling out maybe the darker sides of people that they're projecting outwards, or maybe bringing up more like toxic and codependent dynamics in personal and financial relationships. Could be coming to the surface for us to gain a greater level of awareness in as we move through the energy of this week. And, you know, as I said, I do think people are going to be, for the most part, operating from either a conscious or unconscious kind of like internalized, and again, maybe a bit irrational fear that could be just like bringing up some issues that are causing them maybe again to want to like micromanage or overly control the environment or like the external world, somehow playing into the energy of Wednesday, trying to make things work and trying to make more sense of things. Or they could also be like projecting their fear onto other people, very emotionally triggered. This could be like a very like pleading, clingy type of energy. Issues, as I said, with toxic or codependent attachments could be coming up here. And we also, I find it interesting, have Jupiter in the context of this energy right now. We're talking about the Libra energy where this distortion and these fears are coming through right now. That's Venus, that's the feminine energy. We have Jupiter at 16 degrees of Gemini right now. That Sabian symbol is a woman activist on a platform in an emotional speech dramatizing her cause. So we could see like things along those lines as well, like people just like very clingy or feeling, you know, a need to be very dramatic in what they are asking for, or like things coming through in like a pleading type of way. People's shadows could really be showing through with this, helping us. Again though, whenever we have the black moon activated, it is not the most fun energy usually to move through, but it's very purposeful because it's trying to shine a light into the shadows. It's trying to, through the way that these events and these emotions and these situations hit us and come to the forefront when we do have this energy activated, it's trying to actually show us and help us gain a greater awareness of, you know, what the issue is, to take it out of the shadows so that it's no longer a shadow, so that we can integrate it and overcome it, you know, work with it, and ultimately turn it into something that is a power to us more so than something that keeps us trapped in these perpetual loops of self-sabotage, as that is the ultimate way that this energy translates and functions in our experience. It keeps us in situations over and over and over based on reactions essentially that we're having to things in a way that we are unaware of, and that is what it seeks to resolve as well, when it makes things so prominent during these couple times of months that hopefully the light bulb comes on and we're like, oh my gosh, I keep doing this scenario. Every time this scenario happens, I feel this way, and then I react this way, and then that happens, and then I go through this sequence and series of events. Like it tries to help us, you know, gain an awareness of that so that maybe we can change. And there's so much energy for change and wisdom and growth right now as well, with the Mars, Jupiter, and Gemini energy going on. So ultimately, you guys, it's a setup for our own success. However, sometimes we learn to find the light switch through having to navigate the darkness. And that is also the story that is unfolding at this period of time and as we move through this week. So as I said, this is a really great week to tend your own garden. The insight that we gain and the awareness that grows within us now and moving forth through the rest of August is going to lead to some type of harvest in September in Virgo season. But that Virgo cycle coming up, it's going to be more of a cycle of endings. I mean, it's going to be a very, very Virgo oriented Virgo cycle, Virgo being the sign of the reaping and the harvest. And that is what we're going to be doing. We are going to be giving some things the chop, I do think, coming up here in the month of September. And what we are going to be perhaps clearing out of our lives in September is going to become apparent to us as we move through the rest of this month of August, and the activations and energy that happen and that correlate to certain events and things happening in our lives. Okay, so we do want to stay self-focused. I feel like this week, mind your own business, clean up your own messes, right? Deal with your own issues and let other people deal with theirs. Don't get involved unless you are directly involved somehow. And, you know, as I've said a couple of times, trying to micromanage or control others is it's not going to help anybody feel better. It's not going to help you feel better. It's definitely not going to help them feel better, but we will probably feel better in this energy if we tidy ourselves up, if we get reorganized, if we make things or our systems or whatever, our lifestyle more efficient in some way. Even if it's just, these are like the small things as well that just help us to breathe a little bit easier and restore a sense of like peace on some level in perhaps an environment that is just ripe with chaos right now. Okay, so everything is about small steps in a forward direction with pauses and hurdles and delays right now. Saturn is currently at 19 degrees of Pisces. That Sabian symbol is a master instructing his disciples. We are going through a phase of lessons and testing and our test is to discover how to become the more masterful version of ourselves right now. And a lot of the frustrations and the delays and the hurdles that we do have to overcome throughout the course of the rest of the summer and the rest of this year are going to serve the purpose of doing just that, actually, and making us more self-disciplined, more patient, more precise, and ultimately more masterful in what we are creating, the foundations that we are laying, what we are building and bringing to fruition right now. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, as I've been talking about, the things that we are working to bring online right now, that we're working to manifest, that we're working to create, these are going to actually define like a very long period of time moving forward. These are not just like short-lived enterprises that we are working towards, or goals that we are working towards right now. Like, these are things that are going to be around and define like a significant long-term phase of our lives going forward. And so universe is not allowing them to happen just like in a split second overnight. These are things that are going to be built carefully and over time, but in the end they will be so much more valuable because of all of the energy and the time and the effort and the patience and everything that it took to build them. You know, when you really, really have to put it all into something, the value of that thing and the quality of that thing has a tendency of being a lot better than the things that we just sort of throw together and we don't care about them as much, you know? So that's what this is. It's hard because with Mars and Jupiter in the sign of Gemini right now, like all the drive and the firepower is forward momentum, like wanting to move, wanting to change, wanting to get things going, like this fire lit up under us. But with these two planets in Gemini building into a square with Saturn, like there's a limitation, there's restraint, and there's pressure to that momentum that is holding things back. Things are, as a result, likely to feel very frustrating, very overly restrictive. Like nothing makes sense and we want to explode. Like we're stuck in traffic right now. Like that's, if I think about the way that this energy feels, and then I think about other places that I've felt that energy before, it feels, I could think of two things: being stuck in traffic with like a full tank of gas and a trip you're about to go on, and there's just nothing that you can do about it, and you're just in traffic for however long you're in traffic. That's just what it is, and the feeling that is associated with that. Or also like the feeling or the sensation, or if you can imagine what it would feel like to be in clothes that are like way too small for you and just wanting to like burst through the seams of them and explode out of them, but like being forced to wear them for some reason, and you just like sort of have to deal with that sensation. That to me is how this energy might feel to us, but like on an internal level, like like kind of just wanting to like jump out of your skin perhaps in some situations, but not being able to do anything about it and just having to like reel it back in, take a deep breath, regain our composure, put one foot in front of the other, and just like keep working, even though we're kind of just like, like, why can't this just move forward, you know? So if you find yourself in that place over the coming days, okay, I feel like it's just kind of how things are going out there. Pay attention to what does go on now, though. I do think it is definitely going to be related to the karmic endings that are going to be coming with the Virgo cycle that is coming up next month. The new moon in Virgo is real interesting that we have coming up. In the beginning of September, there's going to be a Black Moon Libra South Node exact conjunction. And the South Node is karmic endings, release, letting go. The Black Moon, this is toxicity in relationships. This is those shadow side issues. And Venus, this has to do with matters of the heart, right? And financial stuff. I feel like there is going to be sort of like a release from karmic attachments that have been blocking us from reaching for and achieving perhaps our higher purpose, our true destiny, or whatever it is, the next phase of growth that we are cosmically moving towards right now. So interesting times ahead. And again, this Mercury retrograde, I do think is going to have us reevaluating and is going to be showing us a lot of these changes and endings that are setting themselves up to come into fruition with this next month of September coming through. Now, this could also, like on a more kind of like world stage level, it could have to do with big business deals or negotiations, agreements, or even in our personal lives, like investments and stuff like that, reconsidering these things, questioning maybe what we've invested in or what we've committed in, and maybe wanting to like take a step back, pull some of our, again, like people are going to be pulling out perhaps of investments. They're going to be pulling their assets out of things moving forward into next month. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how things go, you guys, but that's generally how I feel like things are coming together for us as we move through the week this week. And remember, a lot of the fears coming up right now are not, they're going to be irrational. Okay. So there's that. Let's get into the tarot message now. The tarot is honestly telling us like very much the same thing as what our astrology message coming through is coming through as today. We literally have the Hermit and we have the Seven of Pentacles. This is like, you know, being more to ourselves, being more reserved, kind of tending our garden, slow and steady, working on things, waiting for things to come through to fruition. Like there's no rushing ahead. And we've also got the Two of Cups here, which is interesting because this is relationship dynamics. This is balance, right? This is harmony both internally and externally via our relationships and connections to other people. And these are like the true reflection of what really brings us that sense of like soul fulfillment. This is like the two peas in a pod type of energy, you know what I mean? So it's coming. Okay, we need to be patient. Like this message is telling me again, like we need to be patient. We need to do the work. We need to work on ourselves. We maybe need to be more isolated or maybe need to be more just in that hermit type of energy right now at this point in time. But it is going to actually, the purpose of it is to help rebalance relationship dynamics somehow, like what we're working towards or where the road is leading us or what everything that we have going on right now is ultimately going to culminate in is on the back of the deck. We have both the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands. Like this is a much greater state of self-empowerment, knowing who we are, knowing what we want, knowing what we value, knowing what we believe in, knowing what we think, knowing what thoughts are ours, like not being able to be manipulated or controlled mentally or emotionally by others, being a source of our own creative potential and power. That's really, I feel like, what this particular tarot message is telling us that we're gaining through this process of introversion or isolation or self-analysis or working on ourselves or finding the patience or just like, you know, the one step at a time. Like this is bringing us back to a place of personal power where ultimately we are going to be able to attract and reflect what is actually of like a soul mate or soul fulfillment type of nature to us somehow. But right now the process is going it alone perhaps, which is something again that really could be triggered with the Black Moon and Libra energy that's coming up this weekend. There could be, you know, we could find ourselves really having to face some fears of being alone, being isolated, being rejected. Again, like the abandonment thing. But this is also telling us, like, if that is the case, it is to find illumination. It is to find, like, it is to reconnect with ourselves. It is to reconnect with our intuition as well. And there is this process of slow, gradual growth right now. Things are not happening at the like rocket fuel speed way that we feel like they should be. They're happening according to this slow, restrained, controlled growth that again is ultimately going to lead us to a place of either aligning ourselves with or working with or relating with or creating somehow a situation or a circumstance or just a life generally that is a reflection of what truly brings us that like heart and soul based fulfillment from that place of really knowing ourselves and being in that place of creative self-empowerment as well. So I don't know, you guys, like it might even be a more pleasant experience kind of just like being in our own energy right now than trying to like be a part of any type of big group. And as we move into September, it's going to be a weird Libra season this year, you guys. There's definitely like big time relationship changes that are pending and on the way. But okay, I'm going to stop talking now. That's all I'm going to say about the energy and the tarot for today and tomorrow. Let's get a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe. What's the final piece of advice, guidance that we should keep in mind? And our card for the day is Drink of Inspiration. As cold water to a weary soul, so is good news from a far country. Proverbs 25:25. You thirst spiritually when you lack joy, peace, inspiration, and confidence. Claim the living waters of the Almighty flow through you as wisdom, truth, and beauty, and as joy, harmony, power, and love. Accept this all as your own, and you will then draw from your spiritual waters all you need to give sustenance to your soul. So this could be kind of a more challenging week. Again, we may be seeing the negative more clearly than the bigger picture and the positive things that are going on right now, but we cannot lose sight of that bigger picture, of the goal, of where we're ultimately going, of what is really growing right now. And you know, we just got to maintain the faith. So there you guys go. Drink of inspiration. That's what I have to say, and I will be back on Friday with our weekend update. So there it is, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think they would also be interested in this type of astrology content. Leave me comments, you guys. I am so grateful for your presence here. I really, truly appreciate and value your contributions to my channel, what you guys have to say. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. That is very valuable to me. And come back with me, as I said, on Friday. We will have a lot more astrology to get into as we navigate our new moon in Leo cycle. So I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you then, guys. Have a very beautiful midpoint of your week, and until then, bye.